With the urban tracking season right around the corner, I thought I'd make a video today going through the differences between bushland tracking and urban tracking and having an in-depth look at one of the more difficult aspects of urban tracking, dealing with road crossings. In dealing with road crossings, you're having to juggle a number of factors, namely surface transitions, other vehicles, people, dogs, and just the general environment that is completely different to a typical bushland tracking environment. So what we're going to look through today is an example of a road crossing, a busy road crossing with multiple vehicles, middle of the day, baking sun onto hot bitumen, and how to best go about that problem with your dog whilst you are tracking, and the strategies that I employ to give myself and my dog the best chance of success. So starting out, I'm going to be drawing this intersection here. We have 1 corner, 2 corner, this intersection, 3 corner, 4 corner. This intersection is a 4-way intersection, probably one of the more difficult examples that we can come up against when we are doing urban tracking with our dog. Now, for the purpose of this video, the track layer has walked this path with an article laid at the end for the dog to find, locate, and indicate on. So what are some skills that we need in order to safely and effectively cross a busy intersection like this? Number 1 is the ability for your dog to do and understand surface transitions. In this example, Sabre is starting off tracking on a soft surface, which is a large scent picture. So the dog has an easier time understanding where that track is. Compare that to tracking on hard surface, or in this case, hot bitumen with vehicular traffic. It is safe to assume that not much of that track layer's odor is still going to be remaining where that track layer has walked, be it from traffic and vehicles driving over that track, or just the environment with wind and the sun. There's going to be a lot less human or track layer odor on that hard surface. So having a dog that knows how to transition from a soft surface onto a hard, and in this case back onto a soft surface, is an important skill to have. The other skill that is necessary in order to safely and effectively track across road intersections with vehicles is the ability to stop and hold up your dog when they are on a track. Typically, whenever we stop our dog, the dog has been taught that that is a correction, as that's done something wrong. Where in this case, we want to be able to stop the dog in its tracks to allow traffic and safe passage for ourselves across without the dog losing motivation on that track. And that just takes a lot of practice in these scenarios to teach your dog, hey, just because I stopped you doesn't mean the track is finished or doesn't mean you've done the wrong thing. We just need to wait for a safe time for us to cross. Once your dog has those 2 skills, the ability to do surface transitions and the ability to be held up and not lose motivation for the track, we are then ready to go on to how we are actually technically dealing with this track. This track with Sabre and I, we're starting off on soft surface. And as you can see, Sabre is absolutely eating up this track because soft surface is a lot easier medium for a dog to track on because the scent picture is so much larger. Having a track on grass is going to be a lot more scent from the track layer, as well as just the volatile acids coming off the crushed ground, which is going to create a large contrast for the dog to know when it is on the track versus when it isn't. Next thing I'm doing, I can see when I'm tracking along, Sabre is coming up to a road. So what I'm going to be doing as his handler is shortening out that lead for safety reasons, as well as paying close attention to where that step-off point is onto the road, where that surface transition point between soft surface and hard surface is, because that is going to give me a massive clue as to which of the other road crossings the track layer has gone to. So 1 or 2 things may present when we first take a step onto the hard surface. Number 1, the dog picks up the track layer scent and you are able to track across the road to the other side. Or 2, you step out onto the hard surface and the dog is lost. The dog doesn't pick up any scent, and that's when we might need to come in and assist our dog by using our common sense and our knowledge of the track prior to this point in order to give us the best chance of finding productive sources of odor. For example, let's say the step-off point is here. Judging by my previous video where I talk about line of travel and ease of access, if the track step off point was here, the dog showed me that, and the dog hasn't given me any other sign of a track on the hard surface, I will be taking my dog to their next productive source of odor, which will be the grassed area directly opposite that step off point. If, however, after my dog does make that surface transition and it is on the road and gives me any sort of indication via a head snap or a body language cue, I'm going to put that in the back of my head and know I can move my feet up to that point because that's where the dog has indicated. And then watch my dog as it moves ahead of me again with the use of my long lead and look if I can find any other indication point. If I get that, great. I'm going to now be able to move my feet to that next indication point. Kind of like a dot to dot. You follow the dots in situations where there's not much odor around. In this case, a busy intersection on a hot day and full sun, you might have to track dot to dot because I tell you now, there won't be a consistent track along this road crossing. You're only going to, if anything you're going to get, it's little bits of track, little clues along the way to get you to the next productive source of odor. So I've come here, I've got my 2 indications. I can now tell I'm in the vicinity of this side of the road and I'm going to use this and work my dog in that productive source of odor until it finds that track again, follows it all the way and goes and finds the article or the track layer at the end of the track. Urban tracking is one of the most satisfying things you can do with your dog. It's a completely different environment for you and your dog, and you can use the environment for your advantage here because there's going to be certain boundaries and buildings and fences where you know the track can't go. So you can utilize that and play that system to assist you and your dog as you are a dog team in order to get to the end of the track. If you're interested in doing urban tracking, I highly recommend you start introducing your dog to hard surface tracking and putting yourself in these environments more and more often. I'm hosting a bunch of urban tracking workshops, which are night tracking workshops. We start at dusk and we go well into the night, and we'll be coming up against problems just like this, working them out with each handler to get their dogs confident, as well as the handlers confident in how to deal with situations like this.